Cryptocurrencies have grown more popular through the years despite concerns on their extreme volatility. How have Filipinos' attitudes towards these digital assets evolved, and how are individuals and companies keeping up? Coins.PH CEO Wei Zhou joins us now in the studio. Wei, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Rico.
Extreme volatility, roller coaster ride. I mean, they say that investing in digital assets is not for the faint-hearted.
It's certainly been an exciting sort of last couple of years for the crypto world. I first entered the crypto world the summer of 2018. So although I've only been in the industry for about 5 years, I feel like I've been like a war veteran. But,
because it has gained notoriety over the past couple of years. Arrests, controversies, fiascos.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of typical of new technology, except sort of like, if we sort of look at the last 20 years, technology has revolutionized the information sector in terms of delivering on-demand information and videos. Technology has sort of revolutionized the logistics sector in terms of basically doing on-demand global delivery. And I think what cryptocurrency is doing is actually revolutionizing the sector, the financial sector, which is basically all aspects of money, all aspects of fundraising, and all aspects of basically, investments. And I think we're just getting started.
And how much are Filipinos invested in digital assets?
In terms of, I would say penetration, in terms of ownership, we've seen many reports. Some as high as basically 15 to 20% of Filipinos have either touched or invested into cryptocurrency. Sort of according to our data, I think that number is probably somewhere close to 5 to 10 million in terms of over the last couple of years. But we obviously expect that number to grow, especially in terms of global acceptance of Bitcoin as a sort of an investable asset class.
And where are Filipinos investing?
I think if you look at sort of 2 years ago, a lot of the investments went into sort of the gaming space. I think there are a lot of popular Web3 games that the Filipinos are playing. As a part of that process, they're able to earn sort of tokens. I think one of the concepts that was quite popular in 2021 and 2022 was play to earn. And I think, but I think going forward, the industry is actually quite dynamic. I think right now, the biggest use case that I've seen for crypto, the biggest application for crypto has been US dollar stablecoins, which is, we believe, could play a big role in the remittance industry here.
But are Filipinos educated enough to make that investment in cryptocurrencies when there are no underlying fundamentals?
I think we're starting to see underlying fundamental. For example, Bitcoin, there's only about 21 million Bitcoin in circulation, right? And then there's growing, it's been around for almost 10 plus years now. And that sort of, there's general acceptance. And we've seen sort of traditional asset managers in the US like BlackRock coming out with Bitcoin spot ETF. I think sort of the second biggest crypto asset class, Ethereum, which is about $300 billion in circulation. If you look at that, there's actually real revenue being generated in terms of gas fees being burned as Ethereum blockchain gets used. And same is true, I think, for a lot of the major blockchains that we've seen. So sort of like the token represents, I think, both ownership of the protocol, as well as using, you can use it when you sort of use different applications on the protocol. So I think it's quite early, but we're actually seeing real revenues coming through from the different protocols.
Yeah, because we've seen the extreme volatility of the Bitcoin from maybe less than a cent all the way up to 70,000 US dollars. Now it is settling between the $25,000 to $27,000 range. You mentioned about underlying fundamentals. Is Bitcoin an anti-hedge inflation? I mean, that's what we're seeing right now across many economies, rising inflation numbers.
Yeah, I think the quick answer is yes. I think if you look at Bitcoin, there's a limited amount of supply. There will be only 21 million Bitcoins in existence, right? And I think as more and more, traditional financial institutions come into the space, they will start allocating Bitcoin as part of their bigger portfolio. And if there's limited supply and there's growing demand, I think there's a natural expectation of growth in terms of price going forward.
Growth of price, that means with limited supply, we're going to see more demand. So we're going to see a rise then in the price of Bitcoin?
Yeah, historically, if you look at Bitcoin, it has followed a 4-year cycle. Bitcoin has this thing where, because Bitcoin continues to get mined, right? But then the amount of new Bitcoin that gets mined gets halved every 4 years. And then next May, we're basically seeing another halvening of that cycle. Last time it took place in May of 2020 is when we saw Bitcoin rose from sort of the $5,000 to $10,000 range to its all-time high of about 60,000. And I think, and the same is true sort of if you get 4 years prior to that into previous halving cycle. And I think there's that's sort of the major catalyst that is built in, I think, into the price. But I think the other major catalyst that hasn't been built into the price is sort of the approval or the application of Bitcoin spot ETF, where basically traditional asset investors can basically allocate to Bitcoin out of their ETF portfolios.
All right. You have volatility, a roller coaster ride, notoriety. So how is Coins.PH trying to give the digital asset space a great image, a better image?
Yeah, so this is where I'm going to pitch a little bit about Coins.PH. So we're the largest licensed cryptocurrency exchange here in the Philippines. We're licensed by the central bank here, the BSP. We were the first license holder back in 2018. And I think Coins is the platform. We're actually founded in 2016. So we've been in the market for 7 or 8 years now. And we're actually the platform where a lot of Filipinos first bought their Bitcoin. So I think all those that early investors and with our platform have actually made decent returns. That's first of all. Second of all, we're actually very focused on building I think in a healthy ecosystem here in the Philippines. We're encouraging not just, I would say, investors, but actually builders to look at our platform, and they actually come and work with us to build out their business. And I think one of the applications that we're looking at right now is we actually have a pretty significant partnership with a US-based financial institution called Circle, which is the issuer of the USDC stablecoin, which is the second biggest US dollar stablecoin in circulation in the world. And we're announcing a partnership with them where we want to bring a licensed stablecoin, or not a license, but basically a U.S. issued stablecoin with basically fully audited reserve to our users here in the Philippines.
And what is the big ambition of Coins.PH?
So for Coins, we want to facilitate the movement of money. We want to facilitate, here in the Philippines, we would like for us to be able to build a NASDAQ for the Philippines, where entrepreneurs here
and contribute to nation building.
Can build to where we want entrepreneurs here to build on Web3. And to build applications that users here in the Philippines can use in their daily lives, and we want them to have access to capital, which is a global capital base that crypto sort of investors have to, and to list their projects here on Coins, and to sort of proliferate their services here in the Philippines as well.
Thank you so much for joining us in the final word, and good luck to Coins.PH.
Thank you very much for having me, Rico.
Wei Zhou, CEO of Coins.PH.